Nothing. It complicated. Yeah, probably nothing. Yep. So, how have you been?
Fine, I suppose. You know, just working away. Peters and I ended up letting go, Calista Bell.
I heard about that. She was hired into the AC/DC gang, Belton's Motors, and I guess they made an announcement at the Shift 1 LSPD meeting that if there's anyone else that wants to work over there, like retired cops, they can.
Okay.
And Loki, I caught him talking to the marshals. Not intentionally. I actually went to go see what the status was of my my hack laptop.
Wait, who did you?
Loki.
Oh, Loki. Yeah. What about him?
So I ran to the marshal's office, and I was going to talk to him about the laptop stuff. And as soon as I go in there, I hear my name referenced and impeachment. And I'm like, that's strange. Oh, and something about a lieutenant. Those are the only like three things. And then I got out of there because I didn't want to like, you know what I mean? Like, I just ran out.
Lieutenant.
Something, my name, impeachment, and lieutenant. That's what I heard. So I didn't know who it was at first because I've never met this guy. So, I kind of just sort of waited, right? And shortly thereafter, I managed to, you know, managed to see him. Sorry, I'm being just cautious with my words with everyone just walking around.
We'll go upstairs.
I'm surprised McNulty's Blaine County.
Yeah. Had a whole situation with him the other day.
Oh, what happened?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Hello.
Hey, not too much.
Oh, love you too.
Wait. Oh.
When I try to explain the conversation that I had with the marshals last night, I don't even know what to say about it. I think Peters and I were both just kind of shocked about the entire thing.
Which part?
So there was a whole situation with McNulty the other day. I don't know. Maybe he was just having a bad day. He snapped at Vivian and Haley Maxwell, who are both Shift 2 sergeants, about like a warrant that they denied. He ended up getting a DAP for that. That was whatever. But in addition to that, you know Jeb and Peach?
Yes.
Jeb and Peach have been, they've been cheeky, and they've been making this whole like PowerPoint presentation that they do at the end of the
I've seen a couple of them.
The snake thing, right? It's funny. It is funny. But I guess I didn't know this was happening. I guess Jeb hissed at McNulty, and Peters and I were talking to McNulty the other day. And McNulty is definitely in a mood. And McNulty said if Jeb hisses at him again, he's going to punch his teeth into the back of his throat.
Oh, yeah. I was there. This was during the shooting, right? With Opal?
Okay. Maybe he said it multiple times. When he said it to Peters and I, it was here. And I said, or, you could just report it and we'll deal with it. I took it up to BCSO High Command, and I was like, all right, I know if McNulty's feeling some kind of way about this, fine, I will shut it down. But there's really no excuse for somebody like a LEO to be physically threatening another officer. That, in my opinion, is like is a major violation. And if
oh my God, we did it.
Actually physically harmed another officer, and it wasn't like a silly goofy thing, they would be fired as far as I'm concerned. So threatening is huge, right?
So he threatened to punch Jeb's teeth in over like...
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I took it up to BCSO High Command. I don't know if they've done anything about it, but I was talking to Peters and I was like, I feel like we should report this to the marshals in case something does happen. At least we do our due diligence, right?
Yeah.
And this marshal is basically, it was the weirdest conversation. I don't honestly know how to explain it. The conversation immediately started off wrong when he was like, the marshal was like, well, tensions are really high because people are transferring and they don't like the LSPD. And I was like, oh no.
I can tell you that. Okay, I already have a feeling I know where this is going to go, but please continue.
And then he was like, well, what steps have you taken to stop your officer from hissing at McNulty? And I stopped him right there. And I was like, do not.
Is this guy brain damaged?
Yes, I think so. I was like, do not tell me that you are equating hissing at somebody to threats of physical violence.
What was the marshal's name?
It was Barrett. I was like, they are in no way close to even remotely the same. So by that logic,
the fuck?
Are you saying that anytime somebody on the street insults an officer, that officer has a leg to stand on to punch his teeth in the back of his throat? Is that what you're saying right now? And he's like, well, no, but it could be harassment. And I was like, and then he said that Jeb and Peach, he called Jeb and Peach intimidating.
Who did?
The marshal. And basically, it was like, it felt very much like a narrative being spun that this was LSPD's fault, that McNulty threatened violence against an LSPD officer. And I just was like, okay, thank you for your time.
Peach
bye-bye.
And Jeb are intimidating.
According to this marshal.
I think this guy's just, so he's brain damaged. Does there's a running theme that I concluded on, is the story went like this. A long time ago, there was a regime who garnered all the power that they could redeem. They took over the UPD and went after Chang Gang. And then the people rose and said, this is not your, I couldn't make it rhyme, but, we're not going to let it happen again. So that's when Soze and many others stood and fought until a new constitution was recovered. Everything was written, so it all pointed back. Well, that is until he disappeared and left behind all the fat. Now, instead of a new constitution, we're back to emotional season, where there is no logic and only feelings.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The last part didn't really rhyme, but you know.
It's okay. It was good. You did great. But I don't know. After that conversation, I am like,
You're not the only one that had a conversation like this. Like, Michael nearly had an aneurysm the other day over a similar conversation. And then we had another one today where, genuinely speaking, there is no consistent logic being applied. And anytime you ask for some level of logic, you get an emotional response. But I think the parties don't understand why what they're sort of putting forward is inherently emotional, because I don't think they've had to think critically ever in the past. I'm going to give you, yeah.
wait a minute. So, speaking of feelings, what is with this text message from Jadelyn Sawyer?
So, she went to Bill knowing that he had, was a member of the cabinet. And she went to him complaining about Blaine County and how they're ruining dispatch or something like that. And Bill told me about it. I'm like, well, I can listen to see what her issues are. Like, I'm not going to, because, I know she's kind of on the stupid end of the spectrum. Like, I just have very negative opinions about it.
My one experience with her is right when Peters and I, like, when I got a point, like when we were first, put in these positions, we, like, one of the first things we did was we wanted to try to sort out dispatch. So we went up to, because they were all dispatching up at Blaine County. So we went up there to talk to her and Nadia. I think they were the two lead dispatchers. The whole conversation was fucked. They basically were just like, we don't respect you. We don't want to talk to you. Pretty much, fuck you guys. We're going to just dispatch out of Blaine County. Peters and I then met with BCSO High Command, and we were like, I think we need to just scrap dispatch and start over. They then quit. I think they actually had already quit. They quit, and then we went and spoke to them. But yeah, after that conversation, they just quit their jobs, and that was it.
Mm-hmm. I remember this being
really odd.
I remember this being the exact same. This was like the day after I heard them crying in the back of the Shift 1 meeting when there was a discussion about bonuses for moonshine things. I remember one of them scoffing and saying something along the lines of, "Oh wait, so they're getting bonuses for doing their job, while these fucking bozos are getting paid $3,500 an hour, literally doing jack shit."
Yeah, I'm gonna be totally honest. Everything that I heard about dispatch was it was a really toxic work environment. So.
Oh, they used to harass Stilly.
Yeah.
And I can tell you why, if you want my honest opinion. Do you know who raised them?
Who?
Do you know who raised dispatch?
Who?
If you were to guess.
I don't want to make assumptions.
She works for LSPD.
Mm-hmm.
Ruby.
Yep. Well, dispatch is now, we only have a couple dispatchers, but they're both great.
The Hobbit guy, I met him.
Yeah, Frodo and this guy named Rusty. They're both amazing. I need to talk to Peach and just see what's going on with that. But
so the reason I sent you this is so Bill came to me. I said he continued the conversation, and then that was the text message. So she's on some like she kind of about faced on everything. I think she's having a crisis, for lack of better phrasing. That's the best phrase I can come up with. Because if you saw her latest tweet, she's been saying some interesting things for a minute, I just thought it was interesting that she was shitting on BCSO, and then when given a platform to bring up her concerns, she said what follows, and it made it sound like she's been hired up north. So I don't know if that's true, but I figured I'd send it your way in case.
I don't know, because Cassidy and Bones were both on the same page about gutting dispatch. They were like, yeah, it's really bad. This was not a me decision. This was all of us together.
Oh, I can imagine. I don't know where. I don't know. It's so yeah, I don't understand entitlement like one bit. I want to go back to this Peach and Jep thing. That is, to me, utterly sad. I will tell you that I spoke to Maxwell. I brought this up to her, and I also brought Jack to witness it. So Ventura, right? He's had a he's been butthurt for a minute. And I'm gonna give you the context here.
What happened with the interceptors?
Yep, and that's what I'm gonna bring up.
Here's where we're going.
Is about 2 months ago. This is how fucking weird some of these people are. There's no other way to cut it. I had one altercation with Ventura. It was when I was a lawyer, and Marlo Stanfield was pulled over in a vehicle belonging to him. I went down to represent Marlo in the cells. I was called on down. And these are the facts that are on recording, mind you. And I've got the information regarding it. So number one, he was pulled over in his vehicle. He was identified verbally as Marlo Stanfield by Ventura. So he recognized the plates. He recognized Marlo. He called him Marlo. Marlo responded to it. Ventura then asked him to take off his mask, which is his right to do so for identification purposes. No harm, no foul. Marlo put up he contested it. He said, why do I got to take it off? You know who I am, etc., etc. This ultimately led to Ventura asking him to step out of the vehicle with a lawful order. Ventura is well within his rights to do so. Marlo then steps out of the vehicle. Ventura proceeds to place him in cuffs for disobeying a lawful order. He then goes and transports Marlo, after having searched him and everything, brings him down to Mission Row PD with the mask on, and subsequently fingerprints him, still not having removed the mask. And that's when I was called down, and I think at a later point the mask was removed. So in the cells, right, or in the interrogation room, I brought up to Ventura. I'm like, Ventura, why did you not take the mask off after you detained him? Because by you not removing that mask, you're sort of foregoing the lawful reason that for the instruction, right? You have now, by the steps you have taken, thrown away the reason for like, without having taken off the mask, you've pretty much like,
yeah, I see what I
like,
know where you're going with this.
like thrown out your reasoning, and you know it's not gonna fly. And there was, the best way I could describe it is Ventura was set in his charges and was not interested in dialogue. It was just, these are the charges, I can do this, bring it to court. Oh wait, there's no judge. Oh man, I gotta send you up. It was actually pretty disgusting, if I'm gonna be honest, and quite frankly speaks to all the things that I know are should not be happening. Without like, you should not be abusing the justice system, especially spitting shit out like that. Because yeah, if there's not a judge, there isn't a judge. But at least, putting the guise of like, well, he's gonna have to go to prison, and we're gonna ruin his record because there's no judge. Is just not it. Like that's not the move. So fast forward. Take a look at the following. Give me a second. Oh shit, I don't have my MDT. You'll see that he pulled me over about 2 weeks ago now. I would take a look at that police report, but he followed me for multiple blocks and pulled me over for presumably running a red light. Now, I asked him to document it, and you'll notice the way that police report is written. There might be some things that stand out. Subsequently, 2 days ago, on Tuesday evening, or Tuesday morning, I was on my bike and not moving, and Ventura went and pulled up next to me. He had his lights on. Inherently, I'm detained. He then goes, I'm going to have to send you to jail unless you put on a helmet. I'm like, excuse me?
Why?
Well, he pointed at a charge about, like, there's some charge about, like, motorcycle helmets or something along those lines. So, but the way he brought it up, and given my past interactions, oh, and he was on his MDT for 10 minutes, mind you.
What charge regarding motorcycle helmet?
I wish I was logged in. Sorry, 1 second. Hey.
Hello, sir. I'm just calling to confirm your particular appointment today.
Yeah. Absolutely. I do want to see what kind of vehicles are available.
Well, actually, down at VDM, it's for your main vehicle that I tuned for you. I just need to make sure everything's dialed in. So if you can come on down to VDM, I can facilitate
Okay,
that.
thank you so much. I appreciate that. All right.
See you soon.
You
Bye.
take care. Oh my God. All right. Yeah, so he was on his MDT for like a minute. And so he ends up
Oh, I see it. Operating a cabinless vehicle without proper protection.
Mm-hmm. And so I asked him, and I'm like, the demeanor that he used, it wasn't, he was looking for a reason, right? I have no problem with the helmet, et cetera, but like, I knew he was pulling me over for like pretextually. So I asked him, look, is there something going on? Do we have a problem here? And he's like, no, we don't got an issue. So I pull over to the side and we have a chat with him. I brought over, what's his name? Jack. Because I wanted another officer to listen in on the conversation. During said conversation, I brought up, I don't remember why, about like, I think this is as Jack was pulling up, like, I think I'd asked something about the Interceptor. Oh, what is this? Or whatever. Jack's like, oh yeah, man, I want one of those. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to see if I can get you guys like 2 or 3 of these. And that's when Ventura went on to say, and Jack can, corroborate, that Ventura said that you're going to need my permission. I'm the shift 1 supervisor. And I'm like, I don't understand. It's for LSPD, right? Like, what does that mean? He's like, yeah, well, we don't really have any LSPD interceptors and or leads or whatever. And it's actually going to go to BCSO since that's our certificate. I'm like, okay, well, listen. He's like, yeah, well, you're going to need our clearance. I'm like, look, and I stopped him right there. I'm like, listen, this is between like me and LSPD, whatever, I don't know. It was getting a little strange. So
I mean, if he wants to use that logic, then why the hell is Declan Crane driving around the Buffalo while patrolling? If those vehicles are only really intended for the Interceptor unit, why is BCSO taking them out?
Yep. There was some other shit that he was saying. I
don't know what is it sounds like he's just throwing his weight around. I mean, at the end of the day,
I wouldn't have an
if
issue with that if it wasn't for the fact that I mentioned this to Maxwell to bring up with you because I was going to be out the next day.
she did bring it up to me.
Oh, good. Yeah, so
my thought about it is that so the pursuit unit
Mm.
has decided that they want to use those vehicles for the pursuit unit, right? But there is nothing stopping me from using those vehicles as patrol vehicles for the LSPD.
well, they're actively patrolling in that. Mind you,
they
my
are
traffic
literally-
citation
I
that
paid
he
for
tried to
half
give was
that.
that.
I paid for half that Buffalo.
Really?
So why is that a BCSO patrol vehicle?
Yeah. My concern too was Maxwell mentioned to me that y'all got some good drivers and they've been getting ignored. Now I don't know how much of that is true, but Maxwell seemed pretty confident in that. And then when I tie that with apparently Ventura being a shift 1 lead, that had me really concerned.
I'm not sure how true that is for Maxwell. This is something that I said to Maxwell, that because I don't want this to be the narrative and people get down about it, because I don't actually think that's true. I think that the pursuit unit is just starting and that they are actively taking interest and they are going to start doing their trials or whatever with people. I don't think it's actually more than that.
Okay.
But what Maxwell might be referring to is that right now, and I put my foot down about this, so maybe she's kind of expanding on it, but right now the pursuit unit is led by Bones and all 3 leads are BCSO.
That's crazy.
I told Bones, I am not paying for anything until there is an LSPD officer in the unit. Once there's an LSPD officer in the pursuit unit, I will pay for whatever you guys want.
Oh my
but I'm not
God.
paying for a BCSO pursuit unit.
Well, how did they come and land on? See, that's already. Here's kind of where I'm pointing is how is Peach and Jeb being threatened with violence over a meme bullshit? Them claiming wah, 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 and then doing shit like this. I can't wrap my head around it. Now, I know the marshals are sucking their dick, and it's very, very blatantly obvious to me. You know what I had to do? I had to change legislation. Take a look at this real quick. Go to City Hall and look up the Expanded Business Hours Act.
Okay.
Notice, now let me ask you, is this applicable in Blaine County? Anything that I wrote here?
I mean, isn't this just so that people can work whenever they want?
Yeah.
And jobs pertaining to Los Santos County?
Yeah.
So what's the what are people bitching about now?
So, and let me ask you before answering that, if would any of this be applicable in Blaine County? Inherently.
I don't think so. I mean,
so
I suppose like if sanitation workers went up there.
Now, because of the phrasing, in the implementation plan, which states immediately adjust operating hours. And because there is a sign-in up north, we have to explicitly notate what exact function down south we're referencing about lumber needs to be written in here, even though inherently anything that we write that is in Los Santos County should only be covering Los Santos County. In other words, we have to put disclaimers in there to specify.
Isn't the disclaimer where you say Los Santos County? Isn't that the disclaimer?
Yeah. So where I'm going with this is the arguments are not being devised from the Constitution on up. It's sort of like, what if, or what if they do this? Therefore need disclaimer. Right? Which is, in other words, it's an emotional position that is not baked in common sense logic, right? Like, you know, you have a constitution, then comes state legislation, then comes county legislation. Inherently, county legislation is scoped within the county. If you wrote something like, you know, something, you know, like we could write whatever the fuck we wanted down here, but none of it would be applicable outside of the county. Even if I wrote in here like, you know, we will pick the Blaine County mayor, right? It doesn't fucking matter because it's not, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's outside of the scope, right? It's kind of like, you know, if
I don't think anybody's using logical thinking, to be honest. I mean,
well, I mean, if you got a fucking marshal who's like, oh, but did you do anything to stop them from hissing? Like I just don't even, like, I don't know. Nothing makes any fucking sense. I don't know. But anyways, I want to bring up the Interceptor thing to you because, you know, I don't know how deep that goes, but some of the shit is like starting to really piss me off because I feel like you are actively, it feels like there's active sabotage and simultaneous crying.
You know, they kept saying UPD, let's do UPD. Fine, we'll do UPD. And now they're doing all of this shit. And I don't know. You know, when you get to the point of you're just like, I don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I just care about LSPD.
Yeah.
I don't give a shit about BCSO, to be completely honest. Like, I don't care what they do.
You've hit my stage 2 weeks ago.
as long as it's not affecting LSPD officers, I couldn't care less what BCSO does.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm just like, you know, Peters and I have been threatened with impeachment, and it's what we're being impeached over. I'm still not sure. I'll be interested to hear, I guess. But I don't know. This whole like thing about shift 2 and everything, and I mean, it's a weird one. It is definitely a weird one because, you know, a bunch of people transferred and I allowed them to transfer, and at first it was because they just wanted to go to BCSO, and now it's, you know, his story has changed to it's because of me and Peters, and I don't know. I think it's whatever.
Let's call it a spade is a spade. It's one massive clique that wishes July 3rd never happened and is pretending it didn't occur. That's the best rationalization. That is the only thing that makes sense. Everything else is a post hoc justification, and is only something those same individuals are gonna, drink up. And as a reminder, you have to keep in mind that all that did start with Bones. I don't know how much you know, but
No, I don't really know anything.
Yeah.
But I'm just,
So-
I don't know.
I think I think the mental you got is honestly the best one. We've been doing the same with DCSO related shit, or no, Blaine County related shit. Because at the end of the day, there's a bigger picture here, and they're at the end of the day of a distraction. My only concern comes to be, like, I went to the Shift 1 meeting, and Peach and Jeb seemed a little down, and I heard there was, the announcement that was made. And, seeing them lose something that was, like, fun and whatever, and then subsequently hearing shit from Ventura that same day and tweeting out stuff, like, why did they got to stop and then Ventura can tweet whatever the fuck he wants, right? It just seems like a hyper double standard,
I really, I don't know. Peters and I are gonna go meet with Cassidy and Bones.
Yeah.
In actually 10 minutes. I'm probably just gonna have some frank conversations about things because, I don't want this to get to a point where it is affecting people wanting to come on duty.
That's exactly where I was going with this.
Because it will. Because people take things too far, and I can see the writing on the wall. And like I said, at the end of the day, my responsibility is LSPD and making sure that LSPD officers enjoy their time on duty. And come on duty, and I will make decisions based on that, because I'm a little bit over, feeling season.
Yep, I feel it. In regards to the Loki thing, I just wanted to give you a heads up on it. I didn't know who
is he trying to impeach you, or is he part of the impeachment for Peters and me?
I think it has something to do with me and you guys. Like I said, I heard my name, something about a lieutenant, and impeachment. I don't see why he'd be talking about. I didn't even know who this guy was. But I figured I'd give you a heads up.
He's the one that Peters yelled at.
Well, I just thought it was a little strange that he was called a snake, got mad he was a snake, got called a snake, quit or whatever, and it's like 2 days later he's in the marshal's office.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, you get what I'm saying? Like, I mean, motherfucker slithered into there like really fucking quick. I don't,
I think he's just probably salty about everything.
Yeah.
I don't know. I really hoped when he went over to BCSO that like he would just enjoy his time over there and kind of move on with his life. But some people can't let things go. So
yeah.
All right, I got to drop you off.
Okay.
I got to go to this meeting.
Take a look at this, by the way. Don't show anybody.